Good evening, everyone. Shout out to everybody who's turning out to this. You know what? I'm gonna level with you guys right off rip, okay? I didn't even know it was Tuesday. I swear to God, I thought it was Monday here earlier, so I was cutting up all my videos and all that shit, right? Like just doing, regular stuff, and then I look down at the clock, and it's like 10 after 8, and it's like, wow, everything is just totally fine. Everything's great. And it's like, why am I done so early? Oh, God, it's Tuesday, and I said that I was going to do a stream. So, guess what? That's why I'm here. That's why there was very little notification on this one, but I still had all the topics I wanted to cover. Fuck, I thought it was Monday. So I was like, oh, I'll just, wait for a couple of other things to roll in when it comes to this leaked audio situation. And it's like, oh, fuck it. Might as well just go live with it. But yeah, no, shout out to you guys and Lord Stay Frosty. Yeah, definitely. Feeling a hell of a lot better. Don't really want to push it, mostly because, well, Saturday's going to be a big one. Saturday's going to be a hell of a good stream. I'm bouncing between a couple of different interviews when it comes to the RFK situation. Got the Bill Maher one. Got the OG, the one from about a month ago, when he was talking with those fucking dorks that used to be with The Hill, Cigar and whatever that bitch's name. Okay, she looked like an absolute twat waffle. All of this stuff. It's tough, right, when you're covering and trying to talk about RFK Jr., which you guys seem to really want out of the past stream as well. So, yeah, we're definitely going to be running that one back. And, yeah, finding his interviews on YouTube, specifically the ones that are still up, I want to simulcast on both sides, right? So I want to get it on YouTube and I want to get it on Rumble, even though, even right now we got a way better turnout on Rumble, but it is what it is, right? So I want to keep it up on both, but he has a tendency to just start to delve into some really based topics. So we got to got to play it by ear. So that's why I'm listening to a few different interviews before we go live. And yeah, it's going to be a big old long stream on Saturday. That's for true. Probably a return to form so much that we'll have at least a couple hours out of it. This one right here tonight, when it comes to subject matter, we don't really have all that much, to be completely honest. It's a little sparse, right? Because I've heard a couple of different people, opine on this leaked audio situation, and it's funny. The first time that I seen it was leaked out by Caitlin Collins. I guess she's getting her get back because she was the one who got roasted on that town hall from CNN. Yeah, so that she's, the Trump audio, see, as president, I could have declassified it. No, I can't, but this is still a secret, and now we have a problem, a staffer responds. So it's like a minute and 40-second long clip. We're going to listen to all of it, of course, and we're going to break it down, pause it, and all that good shit. The stuff that you've known to come and love when it... know to love and come to appreciate, whatever the fuck the saying is when it comes to these live streams. This is what we do. We respond to videos and add clarification when needed. And yes, of course, when hearing this leaked audio, which I find it so hilarious, right? Because they're saying that Trump, at least with these allegations that are out there, Trump let out all this classified information. What are you guys doing? Leaking information about an ongoing investigation? Seems a little bit sus, but in the words of the great Chris Cuomo, the media is different. We can take a look at that information. You guys can't. You're just the stupid plebs that are out there. So, without further ado, and I really do appreciate you guys turning out for this one. Like I said, late stream, and, my good buddy there, Lord Stay Frosty, which, when I'm on that YouTube side, if you're still kicking around at the end of the stream, just let me know if I forget, but I'll make sure that, you're promptly compensated for being a real one and turning out early and often. So let's get into this stuff, all right? All right, so what do we got here? Put on the fucking cans, get into the right format, make sure all the audio's on. But yeah, no, okay, let's see.
Bad, sick people.
That was your coup, against you.
It started right at the beginning.
When Millie's talking about...
So, as you can see, this audio right here just jumps off right in the middle of a conversation. Not quite knowing about anything that's going on, but at least there's subtitles on this one. So, they're bad, they're sick people, they're terrible people, they're gross people. And then the staffer says, that was your coup, against you. So, the framing of this one is all surrounding the generals wanting to go into Iran. Not Trump so much. Oh, interesting. But I thought according to the indictment, Trump was the one who wanted to go into Iran. Oh, interesting. It's almost like that was never the case. And that's also what we talked about on Sunday. But continue.
Oh, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Drum up all of these fake investigations saying that the walls are closing in at any time. Sounds familiar, huh?
Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Milley, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran.
Oh no, there's those evil papers that are shuffling. Oh my god, what could possibly be in there? Well, you could also see, and Christ, that's why I chose for the thumbnail that I have right there. You got all those boxes that are, all of the classified documents, even though Nara only wanted, like 38 pages. But interesting, yeah, I had all of those boxes that were stored in nefarious places. And then also, if you guys remember, they had boxes full of framed magazines. So, yeah, for as bad as they want to make the paper shuffling seem, we have no fucking idea what these are. We have no idea what he's even showing, what he's alleging to, what he's pointing to. It's Trump being at his hyperbolic best. And it also shows that he's congruent both in front of and behind the camera, which we kind of already knew from that Access Hollywood tape. Grab him by the what again, Trump? Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came.
The biggest pile? Have you seen bigger piles? I know that there's bigger piles in other places, but up close and personal like this, have you seen a bigger pile of papers? It's a great pile of papers, there. Some of the information that's in there, it was classified. It was classified. Oh, I should really show you this stuff, hey, it's just a staffer after all, right?
Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but...
Okay, I know they're going to get hung up on that, but just keep a pin in that for a moment.
They presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him.
So, okay, going through that entire quote. Okay, this was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. Okay, if you're going to try to say that those are classified Department of Defense information, okay, again, they presented the president with this information, which lets me know that he had that information at the time he was president. Ergo, he can declassify that. Okay, that's one way to attack that. But then also, oh no, we're supposed to be talking about this off the record. No, he's once again just describing the scenario, what was going on at the time. The guys, the generals, whoever else was in this meeting outside of Trump and Miley, who are at least alluded to and was probably clarified earlier, prior to this recording starting. But, hey, all of this stuff, it's off the record right now, folks.
Wow. We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him.
Yeah, see, once again, oh, Trump, oh, he had to get talked down from the ledge by his good generals. No, it was Milley, once again.
All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
So, thumbing through more papers that are there. Okay. So you've got multiple people that are there. So either Trump is totally as incompetent as the mass media wants you to believe, or he had a stack full of papers. They were going through a conversation, and he's showing multiple people that are in there, because they've at least alleged so far, which, I don't know, you can't really tell from oohs and ahs and erms and ers, but apparently CNN could suss out that there are 3 other people outside of Trump that are in that room.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case,
Mm-hmm.
So, which case are they referring to? It's not entirely clear outside of the framing that we're speaking right now of the competing ideas that it was Milley that wanted to invade Iran or it was Trump that wanted to invade Iran. So if he's talking about that, and we've also seen that Trump kind of does like to play fast and loose when it comes to specific verbiage,
this proves my case. My side of the argument, folks. It was always going to be the winning one. So this just goes out there and it proves it concretely, in fact.
Except it is like highly confidential.
Yeah.
Highly confidential. Is that classified? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We don't know. We have no idea. Audio recording.
This is secret information.
Very secret. It's the most secret. Only the president can see it. And thankfully, I was the 45th one. And then soon to be the 47th one. Have you seen the polls? All of the polls. Great polls, folks.
Look at this. You attack And
Hillary would print that out all the time, you know.
she'd send
Private
it,
email.
she'd send it to
Yeah.
Anthony Weiner,
Yeah.
the pervert.
Yo, fucking based. Trying to read the chat here. Yo, what's up, Manu? And what's up, WCS? Good to see you. I don't recognize the name. But glad you could turn out for this one, my guy. No, but yeah, sending it to Anthony Weiner. Yo, shout out to Hunter Biden 1.0. If you know anything about the Anthony Weiner situation, well, you probably know too much. And Weiner, he definitely earned his surname. And just calling him a pervert. Once again, it's like Trump's people radar is pretty good, except for the people that he can't fire. It's like, obviously, the people that he hired. And if you've read The Art of the Deal, I got my copy that's over there, you know, he had a sense. What he brought to the White House was he was thinking that everybody was going to be in here working in furtherance of the business, and the business being America's time as president. And if nobody was going to be there, well, guess what? He could just get rid of them like that. But it doesn't quite work like that in Washington. And hopefully he takes that learned information moving forward into the next, hopefully, God willing, the 47th presidency. Okay, so... But yeah, whether it's pointing out that Anthony Weiner's a pervert or there was something wrong with that Epstein guy, pretty accurate assessments. People, pretty good judge of character.
By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying, because we were talking about it. And, you know, he said he wanted to attack Iran and what?
Yeah, so the more I think about it, the more the whole, this proves my case. This is just talking about the hypothetical, would you, won't you, with Iran.
These are the
You
papers.
did.
This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
Yeah, I think we can probably come to a decision. Is that what we're talking about here?
We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassified.
figure out a yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified
Yeah.
it. Now I can't, you know, but this is
Yeah,
classified.
now we have
Okay. Yeah, I guess this would be, if you wanted to take a look at it and you were to believe that everything, because the framing in and of itself, like you've got the dark background, okay, this is supposed to have an accusatory tone over top of it. It's being presented by CNN. It's got CNN obtains a tape of Trump's 2021 conversation about classified documents. And yeah, no. So you could interpret that as him saying that he knows that he has classified information, but which documents is he showing? Which ones aren't declassified? Which ones didn't he have jurisdiction over classification on as president at the time? Did he do that, or did he have to wait until afterwards? He said one thing, he did another. What can you actually prove?
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so, I'm looking
It's so
here
cool.
laughing.
It's very cool. It's
And you
radical,
probably
some people
almost
would say.
didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
It's
you.
incredible, right?
No,
Hey, bring some cokes in, please.
Oh my God, he's a drug addict. No. Oh, see, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, incredible, right? So cool. It's tubular. Remember when kids used to say that? It was radical, folks. But not like the radical left that wants to paint this conversation as somehow accusatory. Because really, folks, it really isn't.
So, that's all the audio in context, right? And I think even after listening to it, and like that's probably like the third or fourth time that I've listened to it fully, yeah, I'm still not convinced that really proves anything. Like WCS, you pointed that out, and it's like, you got audio. What does that prove exactly? Yeah, nothing, man. Absolutely fucking nothing. You know it as well as I do, and CNN does as well, but it's Orange Man, and you know, they got to have him back on the Chiron, so you know, any business is good business for them. But, yeah. It's funny, the last time that this pairing of people happened at CNN, there was a showrunner, well, not the showrunner, the CEO, not the CEO, chairman. Fucking guy ended up getting cuffed. I don't even know who's running the ops over there at CNN anymore, but it really doesn't much matter because without Trump, they are dead in the fucking water. So if he ends up sitting in a jail cell, what are they going to have Jim Acosta trying to, you know, just plan little dates in the fucking, you know, commissary every once in a while? Like, they're going to be in tough shape. So here we have clandestine. Okay, this dude right here is, well, he was retweeted by Robert Barnes. So it seems like at least Robert Barnes has a little bit of, lends a little bit of credibility to this breakdown here. So, okay, let's break down the leaked Trump audio. There's a lot to go over here. Yeah, in the 2 minutes, it was pretty well packed. I think what did we end up getting, like 15 minutes out of that? So yeah, not all that bad. And let's see what we missed here. Yeah, the DOJ leaked it, which, yeah, of course, they have all the information there, and that's kind of what I thought. It's like, wow, all of a sudden we go from, and I'm pretty sure we talked about this on Sunday as well. It's like we haven't heard any of this alleged accusatory audio, and now we have all of a sudden. It's almost like once people started barking on Monday, hey, the DOJ is like, okay, we're losing this battle of public opinion. What we're gonna do? Oh, we're gonna leak out some audio, and it's like, well, that didn't really help you. It's just, again, an out of context conversation, which you couldn't even get the proper framing of. But yeah, no, they leaked it and highly illegal, which is just so goddamn ironic, but that's all kind of lost on them anyways. All of the documents Trump took were already declassified and legally his property. But do you even know if this conversation was held at Mar-a-Lago? Was it in the parking lot of the White House? Like, what do we actually know about this? Okay, outside of what we're being told. Milley created a contingency to attack Iran when Trump backed out of Obama's Iran deal. Oh, interesting. Okay, so firstly, notice how the Dems always claim that they care so much about the integrity of the law and respect the secrecy of ongoing investigations. Yeah, exactly. It's like whenever there's a whistleblower that comes out against Republicans, specifically Trump, they're heralded as, stunning and brave individuals. Just like, what's her name there? The bitch, the Hulk Hogan, whatever her fucking name was. She was a whistleblower against Facebook. And it's like, she gets her own congressional hearing and her name's blasted everywhere. But she was just calling for more censorship on big tech platforms because she lost the good friend who was radicalized by far right-wing propaganda about the 2020 election. Sure thing. Yeah, she's heralded as just this absolute superstar. But what was the last time that you heard? I don't know. I don't really pay all that much attention to mass media. I haven't watched anything in a very, very, very long time. But what did you hear? How much time was actually dedicated to all of the leaks? The whistleblower that we don't know a damn thing about. And I think there's multiple at this point in time. I seen something about another Mr. X coming forward about the DOJ interfering about the Hunter Biden investigation. Yeah, very little that you hear about that. Or that, I think I seen a clip regarding what Kevin McCarthy, who I'll hold my breath when it comes to that, okay? But then at the same time, I don't want to die either. But no, I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting if Kevin McCarthy actually goes forward with impeachment efforts on Merrick Garland because, we have all these whistleblowers that are here. He's all show, man. Like, we're already at a point in time where everybody's, at least in the House, is looking forward to re-election. So, that'll be a campaign promise. We're just going to go out there. We're going to hold all these people accountable. Just like Anthony Fauci, who just got a fellowship or he just got a professorship at Georgetown University. All those fuckers from the scandemic are getting away with it. Not a single official in the Biden regime will utter a syllable about Hunter Biden due to the ongoing investigation. Exactly. The FBI won't reveal anything to the American people under the guise of sources and methods. Exactly. And that's also what's alleged over the top of this. Okay, he declassified that document, but there could still be some classified information attached to all this stuff. So that doesn't mean that he's out of the woods yet. Fuck off. But all throughout the Mueller investigation, yes, the Mar-a-Lago raid, Manhattan DA, leaks on top of leaks on top of leaks. Again, yeah, like I drew the parallel when it came to whistleblowers, is just more pointed criticism. People forget this is illegal, yet corrupt DOJ, FBI do this all the time, without consequence, and only to the detriment of Trump, never the other way around. I can't think of an example where it's this double standard has benefited Republicans. They are few and far between, or at least not within my lifetime. Secondly, Trump's documents were already declassified. The documents belong to him legally via the Presidential Records Act. No, you can't say that. And while the media are in a frenzy over the audio of Trump sharing documents with his aides, there should be an E on the end of that so that it's not Fauci's favorite airborne virus, right? Fucking idiot. They completely ignore the Biden aides and lawyers are the ones who allegedly found all of Biden's stolen classified documents at UPenn. But he contacted the DOJ and he returned them the moment that he knew that he had them. something that he's not allowed to do as vice president or as a fucking senator, by the way. The only difference is Trump was POTUS. Biden did this when he was vice president. One is legal, one is not. Yet the mainstream media and the left are foaming at the mouth over Trump's illegal handling of documents. But that's also the perpetual orange man bad. Orange man also makes mass media a whole hell of a lot of money, and completely fine with Biden's illegal handling of documents. Lastly, and arguably most importantly, yeah, because that right there is seditious behavior. If you have your generals being, okay, cool, we need to go into Iran. Why is that? I think I heard something like weapons of mass destruction. Oh, no, wait, that's the wrong Middle Eastern country. No, we need to go into Iran because... We're on YouTube, and I don't want to get... I'm already going to be pushing it tomorrow with a video that I was just cutting up, and one of my favorite thumbnails that I've ever made. It should be dropping second video, depending on if there's any like breaking news or anything like that. But just pay attention and wait for that video because, oh, them boys are going to be shook over that one. But I don't want to press it. I don't want to press it. And I think already, just let enough slip when it comes to who would want Iranian intervention. Just saying, it's a little country down there in the Middle East that is a little bit too advantageous at exploiting a bunch of their connections. Anywho, the left-wing propagandists will help the DOJ leakers are trying to leverage the story to be negative for Trump. They are conveniently ignoring the massive story exposing the deep state's plan to invade another Middle Eastern country, which they later blamed it all on Trump. Yeah. No, exactly, because Orange Man bad. Orange Man, when elected in 2016, he was supposed to plunge the world into a nuclear disaster. He was immediately going to go to war in the Middle East. He was going to go to war with North Korea because he just didn't have the temperament to be the president. And the only time that the media got behind him is when he drone striked Syria. Interesting. The audio leak shows that many levers of the deep state, working in unison to once again go after Trump. The FBI, the DOJ leak information they gathered from an ongoing investigation, and the MSM uses it to smear Trump, rinse and repeat. So when the DOJ, FBI illegally leaks information painting Trump negatively, which, yeah, you don't really have to cock your head to the side and go, I could see how that's incriminating, but at the same time, it's much ado about nothing, really. But no, they paint it negatively on Trump. That's fine. That's when Trump shuffles through declassified documents he owns legally in private with his aides. That is worse than 9/11 and Pearl Harbor combined. Yeah. No, exactly. That's always the way it is. Trump wakes up in the morning and he steps down. He steps out of his bed and he puts his left foot down instead of his right foot. Okay, he must have had a stroke. There's something wrong with that. He's right-handed, so why didn't he lead with his right foot? It's always a catastrophic end of times prediction whenever Trump fucks up or whenever he just moves in a way that can be spun by the media in order to turn a little bit of profit. Kind of like the second half of this interview. What a fucking segue. Oh, got it. Just absolutely got it. But let me take a look at this chat here for a second. Okay, I don't want to leave you guys hanging or anything like that. I'm super happy. Yeah, is gracious the right word? I'm super happy everybody turned out. I'm feeling a large sense of gratitude that anybody ever cares that I go live. I don't really... It's one of those things. It's like, if I go live, you guys can at least watch it later as a VOD, and that's totally fucking fine with me as well. But I'm always incredibly appreciative that anybody turns out. So let me run through the chats and grab a drink of water before we take a look at this. 23 minutes, 51 seconds. I got it sped up just a little bit, and like I said, we'll probably be going until about the bottom of the hour. I don't think much longer than that. Like I said, it's probably going to be a cool hour. Because I thought it was still Monday. My mistake. But yeah, no, Saturday is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, going through a couple of different interviews or just one big one. I just need to, cut up all my sources when it comes to the RFK stuff. Because yeah, in a perfect world, I would love to see Donald Trump versus RFK Jr. on the debate stage in November of 2024. But we all know what time it is, okay? We hope that it's Trump, at least on one side, but if the deep state has its way, it'll be Ron DeSantis against Joe Biden, and it'll just be Bush versus Clinton, round 3. Anyways, Yo, what's up, Ed? See everybody that's in here. Yo, WCS just blowing it up here. I appreciate that, man. Yo, Rookie, I'm good in here. My first ever comment to you was telling you that you had too many buttons undone from your shirt, and I kind of missed. Oh, man, yeah, still sure. Yeah. No, for sure. Hey, man. No, appreciate you. Thanks for turning out here, Ed. Oh, it's all good. Rookie and Don. Here in my town, Wisconsin. I'm trying to see all the damn smoke on your side was emitting from a while ago. Yeah, I've been seeing reports about all that fucking goofy ass wildfire. Hopefully, you guys are, gonna be fine. The way that they try to paint the smoke rolling into New York, it's a little bit hyperbolic. Now, it was pretty bad. I had some pictures that were up there. Photographing smoke with the camera, even as sophisticated as the one is on the, your regular smartphone, okay? Excuse me, it's pretty difficult to do, right? To get an accurate depiction. So to have those orange skies, and the way that I've seen smoke billow in before, it doesn't really get orange. Like, it gets a tinge of orange, especially if the sun is up really, really high and it's beaming and it has like a normal through line, then yeah, you might end up getting that orange tint. But the way that they project it all the way through the clouds and like consistently over the sky, maybe a little bit hyperbolic. But when it was exceptionally bad, late April, early May, like, okay, the sun doesn't go down in my neck of the woods at this time of the year from about middle of May until about the middle of August. Like, it doesn't get dark until about 11 o'clock. Like, you can go outside and it is still, like, obviously visible. If I could show you guys outside the window that I have right here, like, it's, hey man, you couldn't tell. Like, if you didn't have a clock around you, if you just woke up from a dead sleep, you wouldn't know if it's 3 o'clock or if it's 9 o'clock. Just for reference, yeah, it's 9 o'clock where I'm at, just about, right? But no, yeah, because I remember that specifically, and I forgot which stream we did the following day, but right at about, what was that, 6:30, 7 o'clock, because yeah, I was just leaving. It was dark, like midnight dark outside, and that was freaky as fuck to see that much smoke billowing through the air, knowing that the south, right, yeah, that was that week, if you guys were watching at the same time. Yeah, there was we have a river right to the south of town. It's called the Wapiti River. It's a pretty big boy. It's pretty furious as well. It feeds into the North Saskatchewan at some point or another. I'm boring everybody with the details. But no, the big wildfire was all the way on the other side, the south side of the river. Grand Prairie's on the north side of the river. So we're reasonably fine, right? So what was I going to say off of that one? But yeah, no, that's where all the smoke was coming in on that one. And yeah, it was pretty bad. It has been lingering for a little while, but thanks to the intermittent bursts of rain, at least it's lightening up a little bit. But yeah, seeing it roll back through into the States as well, because I know like Manitoba and Saskatchewan, it's pretty light, but depending on the way, and I'd imagine probably out there on the East Coast, you probably have a lot of westerly winds. So yeah, Ed, where you're at in Wisconsin, yeah, you're probably getting a lot of that Ontario shit. So yeah, it's trash, man. Mitigate the time outside, that's for true, and make sure that your furnace filter is nice and changed. So that's the way that I tried to mitigate my losses. And then I also, like right behind me, actually, I don't think you guys can see that, I got the air cleaner, so if you hear just a little bit of a hiss at the same time, because you boys got a little bit of allergies as well, so we'll start to sound just a little bit just a little bit stuffed up like that. That means that the allergies are running a bit wild, but yeah, good side tangent. No, let me just see. We're all in here as well. Yeah, smash. Let's see what we got. That one's all paused and shit, but yeah, what do we got? Holy fuck. Yo, great turnout on Rumble. What the fuck, man? I have no idea what's going on over there. I appreciate that. So, no, and then over on YouTube as well. Yeah, Canadian Smokane. Yo, some of that shit was absolutely fucking ridiculous, man. Yo, WCS, I'd love to see Biden fall on stage. I'd imagine he's probably during the second or third. Oh, because there's that town hall too. The traditional way that they hold debates. The first one at the podium. The second one, the town hall situation. The same time when Trump had that famous, "Oh right, Hillary, if I was in control of the legal department, you'd be in jail." That one. Yeah, if Biden's going to fall at any point in time, or they could be, come on guys, we'll just have a big sit down and we don't need to walk around so much. But as bad as he is right now, and every time that I see a clip of, Joe Biden, because just recently, what was it? He just repeated the end of quote. It's like, why do you continue? Unless there's a real troll in the AIDS office, it's like, why would you continue to put that on the teleprompter? But no, he looks even more frail and feeble as he did. Like, just seeing those compilations of Joe Biden campaigning back in 2020, there's a noticeable drop off over 3 years. I can't even imagine how bad it's going to be next year. So the fortification is going to be fucking wild when it comes to making sure that those debates are incredibly structured or just don't happen outright. Okay. But I'd imagine, if you're a betting man, you're going down with, Biden, Trump, round 2. That'll be the debates. And I would just love to see Biden do a real life gaffe and just be absolutely atrocious, because the motherfucker has the audacity to run in his 80s and seek a second term when he would theoretically exit office, or when somebody would just sweep him up into a dustpan. He would be 86 years old. And Nancy Pelosi over the weekend had the audacity to say, I support term limits for Supreme Court justices. Bitch is 82 years old. But anyways, on to this interview right here. And yeah, it's the second half of the one that we watched on Sunday. It's probably going to go a little bit quicker. I know that Brett Baer hyped this up a couple of different times in some of the promo clips that he said, he really goes after Ron DeSantis. Well, we'll see. Because, yeah, on Sunday, we kind of dispelled that myth. Trump got caught off guard. He got caught flat-footed by Brett Baer. Yeah, we watched through all of it. That just didn't happen. That really just didn't happen. So without further ado, folks, it's time for the main event of the evening.
Would your policies roughly be similar to your first term as far as taxes regulation?
Yeah, and I do even more taxes. Don't forget, we took in more money after I gave tax cuts than we did before I did them. People said, how did that happen? I did things, for instance, in the tax bill, foreign big companies like Apple and many others. Apple in particular, because he brought in a lot of money. They were taxed to death if they had $5 billion sitting in other countries outside where they made money in other countries like in Europe and Asia. They would take the money and they would leave it there because there was no way of getting it back. I have a clause in there, you're allowed to bring it back at a fairly low tax rate. Everybody brought it back. I mean, trillions of dollars came back into our country all of a sudden, and it was like an explosion. Apple took in, I think, $400 billion they brought back, $400 billion.
Yeah, instead of just having those plants in China, Foxconn plants. It's not Apple exclusively, like just about every technology manufacturer that's headquartered anywhere around the world. Mostly Foxconn makes the chips in all those places, and that's that fancy office building that has all those nice little bouncy nets. So when anybody is just tired during one of their breaks, and they just go up to the roof of the building and they just decide to get a little air. And if the breeze isn't stiff enough, well, they help themselves out by throwing themselves off the top. So yeah, by taxing and adding some sanctions onto China, you brought the manufacturing jobs home, and you gave everybody, just a little bit of a boost in quality of life.
They were bringing back the rest. Maybe they've already brought it back. And it's very interesting with Biden. They haven't been able to hurt the Trump tax cuts because the people won't stand for it. They won't stand for it. But those tax cuts gave us, I think, two things, the tax cuts and the regulation cuts. I actually think the regulation cuts were more important. We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think the regulation cuts were actually more important than the tax cuts. But I did the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, bigger than the Reagan tax cuts, and the biggest regulation cuts in the history of our country.
And business people will agree with that. They do have...
Yeah, business people. And that's the way that the left likes to spin it. Trump only cares about the top 1%. Well, just... simple question. When was the last time you got a job from a poor person?
Concerns that cost something. The U.S. added $8 trillion to the national debt under your administration, about $3.5 trillion before.
I mean, come on. When did all that shit happen? Obviously. It was going up during this steady pattern, but what was that big 2022 or 2020, huh? Yeah, interesting. A little bit misleading. Come on now. You got to look at his entire presidency in totality, but you got to be fair to it at the same time. You guys know that just as well. Come on.
Or COVID. Much of that time you had a Republican Congress. So if voters are concerned about the debt, why should they believe you'll address the debt in another term?
I love the question because we had to fix a country. When I took this country over, it was broken. And we created...
It's actually a decent question, to be completely honest. So.
A machine. And the oil was starting. We were energy independent. We were within 4 months of energy dominance. We were going to be supplying all of the natural gas and oil to Europe, all of it as far as I was concerned. Okay. Remember, I was the one that stopped Putin from building his pipeline. I got it stopped. When Biden came in, he approved it. I said, this guy just approved it. Goes to Germany and other parts of Europe. I said, this is a disaster because that means that, remember when I gave Angela the white flag of surrender? She said, what does that mean, Donald? I said, that means you're going to surrender because you are reliant on Russia for your energy. So when I did this deal, when I did all of this, what was going to happen with our country, we were rocking and rolling at a level. We close to filled up the national reserves, which Biden let out to keep gasoline prices down for an election, which is supposed to be used for war. It's not supposed to be used for that. But I filled up 75 million barrels of oil I bought when oil was really cheap. I made a great 70 million barrels of oil when oil was cheap. But here's the thing.
Remember when oil, oh God, when was that? Late 2019? When, yeah, oil was actually, you had to pay to store it. And so cheap it was. Oh my God, I remember in my neck of the woods, 76 cent gas. That shit was cheap as fuck. You guys remember, like $2 gas in a lot of places.
We were now set. The infrastructure was there. The oil guys were there. We were going to make so much money as a country. You look at Saudi Arabia. You look at the wealth that they built. We have more oil than they do. I got Anwar approved in Alaska. It's as big or bigger than Saudi Arabia. The first day of the Biden administration, they terminated the deal. Ronald Reagan tried to do Anwar. He was unsuccessful doing it. Bush tried. Everybody tried to do it all for years and years, for 60 years. I got it done. It was all done. They're getting ready to drill. And Biden ended it. Brett, we were going to make so much money. Now everything was set. Then we got the COVID. COVID came in, our gift from China. And we had to do other things.
You believe that?
No, I don't. I believe that it came in from Wuhan. I said that. If you go back, you'll see I was the one that said it came in from the Wuhan labs from day one. I was told a lot of things like don't close up the country in terms of China. I did, and it was a tremendous. I saved hundreds of thousands of lives. I believe it was incompetence, actually. There's two thoughts. They did it. There's another thought. I was so tough on China, they did it to get me out. But I did better on the election.
That part.
I don't believe that. No, I don't. I actually think they were just incompetent.
So it is a big part of that spending, COVID. Do you have regrets about how you handled that? Because some of your opponents are now running these loops of where you say you shut down the country.
We had to artificially close our country.
We did just the right thing. We closed it down. We
Yo.
understood the disease.
We closed the country down. We studied it. We learned about it. Some people wish we never closed it down. We did the right thing. Everything we did was right.
And do you have regrets?
It's kind of funny to compare and contrast that little montage that they had right there with what we just heard from the audio leaks as well. Trump just being hyperbolic. We closed down the country, folks. Which executive order, which piece of legislation did Trump sign to actually close any borders? Because we can point to a whole host of governors that actually, created the, what was the proper terminology? No, it's been a minute, but essential and non-essential workplaces, right? Oh, interesting. How much of that came from the president? One recommendation, 15 days, one recommendation. Then right after that, he was very quick to point out, we need to, it's just about by Easter, folks. It'll just disappear like poof. Like it was never here to begin with. Okay, we need to get this economy going again.
That's about doing that.
I gave the governors the options. For instance, Henry McMaster of South Carolina, governor, great guy, great governor. He didn't shut it down. Tennessee didn't shut it down. South Dakota didn't shut it down. Georgia shut it down for a little while, but not much. They did a good job. 6 states that.
Yeah, Georgia was the first one to reopen. I remember that vividly. Okay, everybody was looking at them like, oh my God, you're going to kill everybody. And then, Florida. But then Florida locked down a couple of different places again, reinstituted a bunch of different policies. But no, Ron DeSantis would have fired Fauci.
Didn't shut down. It's a federalist system. I told all governors, you do what you want. You can shut it down or not. Florida, by the way, he shut it down tight. No highways, no beaches, no this.
But then pushed back pretty hard. He opened up. But is it fair criticism on that? He was credited for how Florida dealt with COVID.
Because he has better people than other governors, but other governors did a better job than Ron DeSanctimonious. So look.
Why do you use that name?
Because
Because it's funny, Brett. Because it's funny, Brett. You're just not a funny guy.
got him elected, and I thought it was very disloyal when he said, yes, I'd run. I got him past 2 races. I got him past the primary because he was losing by 30 points or more.
So it's a loyalty question?
Yeah, it's a little. I'm a big loyalist. Some people right here in this room have told me, sir, don't worry about loyalty. Loyalty doesn't mean anything in politics. I said, to me, it does. I got the guy elected. He came to see me.
Yeah, see, that's another reason why it's like you just point. Understanding Trump a lot, just read The Art of the Deal. Okay, just read it. It's very good. It's very informative when it comes to understanding Trump.
Let's say weeping, because he was dead. He was getting out of the race. He was looking for jobs already, probably at law firms or wherever he's going to look. He was totally dead. He ran a horrible campaign. He was running against Adam Putnam, the agricultural commissioner, who was running for that position for 8 years. Putnam had $38 million back. Ron had nothing, zero. Putnam was at 40%, Ron was at 3%. It was like a wipeout. The election was going to be very soon. I said, you're dead. If George Washington endorsed you, you're not going to win. He said, sir, if you endorse me, I think I could win. And he fought for me along with Jim Jordan and hundreds of other people, in all fairness. He was fine, but he fought. But I would see him every once in a while fighting on the impeachment hoax. So I didn't know Adam Putnam. So I said, let's give it a shot. I endorsed him, and it was like a bomb went off. As soon as I endorsed him, he won the primary. It was over. He won by...
I've got to check that out. Because I actually don't know if that's true. It's like, yeah, you can believe Trump, and obviously he's a little bit hyperbolic, and I'm partial to believe him. Has anybody actually ever corroborated that, okay, he gave Ron DeSantis the endorsement? Obviously, he ended up being the GOP nominee, and the rest is history, but Is that how it ended up going? Because you can take a look at the other endorsements, especially during, the 2022 season. Whenever he would give somebody during the primary an endorsement, it was like, okay, you're just going to go ahead and you're going to win. What was the track record? Like 121-4? Like, it was, man, Hall of Fame numbers, to say the least. But 2022, Trump lost. That's what happened. Everybody he endorsed failed. Well, if you want to take a look at a couple of places on that one, but even still, if Trump's not on the ballot, because you can take a look at a bunch of different places as well, turnout was well down from 2020 as well. Hey man, the ballots, mail out ballots and all that stuff, okay? You can go ahead and put an asterisk in that, but just compare those totals to 2016 as well, or 2018 even, midterm to midterm. Better turnout when Trump's on the ticket as opposed to when he's not. People are Trump fans. They aren't Republican Party fans. And we're seeing that right now during this presidential primary season.
Landslide. But then I had him to get him past Gillum, who was a rock star. He was going to be the next president of the United States.
Oh, yeah, Andrew Gillum. Oh, my God. You guys remember that story, right? Just to give you the abridged version. After he lost the election a couple of months later, he was found passed out with a male hooker smoking crack in a motel room.
He was the biggest guy in the party. Him and female version, Stacey Abrams, right? These are the two hottest politicians in the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
And Ron said, there's no way I can beat him. I said, you're going to beat him. I did 3 rallies.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
So we had big, massive rallies for Ron, 3 of them.
Right,
They said, you're going to win. He ended up winning. He ended up winning by
So it makes you mad.
tight race. And then 3 years later, they say to him, then I didn't deal with I didn't know him that well. 3 years later, but I got him elected. But I did that with other people, too. But, just out of respect. So
Yeah, and it makes sense because Florida's a very, very, very important state. And hey, man, you have somebody that's like, all right, yeah, cool. We'll just take you and dust you off. It's like, okay, cool, fantastic. Is he looking for, complete subservience? Not just loyalty. Okay. If you invite somebody into your metaphorical home, you don't expect them to, shit on the carpet, as it were. And hey, man, that's what ended up happening now that Ron DeSantis. It's the same point that even Sebastian Gorka points out, and something that I drove home at the time when we first talked about it. What was that? The leak of the indictment from New York came down to Ron DeSantis's first, probably the chink in his armor, the crack in the dam that everybody's looking at him going, doesn't exactly have the best political instincts, huh? But when he came out and said, I don't know anything about paying hush money to porn stars, that's not what I do, pay hush money to porn stars. Just really had to drive it home and mention it twice in his, shitty little briefs. Oh, but Ron DeSantis is just like Trump without all the baggage. Just look how he handles the media. He can crush cans. He's a really good governor. Just extrapolating that out to the presidential level, it's going to be tough. But that's all right. He's never going to get to find out.
I said, 3 years later, they asked him, are you going to run against the president? He said, I have no comment. I said, no comment. No comment means he's going to run. I said, this guy's going to run. And he was dead as a doornail. He wasn't like, I didn't help him 90, I helped him 100%. Some I do and some I help.
52.
But this guy was dead politically. And for him to then say, I'm going to run against the guy that got me into office, and I didn't need that because I took a lot of heat. I had a lot of friends that were on the other side of that one. I took big heat on that. It's not that easy to do.
One was a leader, and one let us down.
So
When your PAC is running ads against him, and actually it adds up to more money than you spent supporting GOP candidates in 2022.
I supported a lot of
I know, but your
candidates.
tally so far on the PAC running ads against DeSantis is more than that support.
So
So
let me-
why do it?
let me
Do
tell
you
you-
see him as the biggest threat?
Well, he's the number 2 right now, yeah. I mean, at some place he could be replaced. The way he's going right now, he's dropping like a rock. He could be number 3, number 4, and you won't ever hear me talking about him again. I like fighting number 2. If you're in a golf match and you got one guy that's close and other guys that aren't so close, but he's not close. I'm leading him by 45 or 50 points.
Last thing on COVID. In your mind, did the COVID vaccine
Yeah, fuck COVID and all that shit. But yeah, chill. You bring up a really, really, really good point. Yeah, and WCS. Trump is an amazingly tireless senior citizen. You're not incorrect. Absolutely not. And the fact that he's kind of de-aged himself since he's left office is just kind of a testament that you don't build all 76, I guess he just turned 77-year-olds the exact same way. But yeah, chill, what you were saying right there. Supposedly the average donation of of DeSantis is thousands of dollars versus Trump in the hundreds of dollars speaks volumes. Yeah, that's exactly the same thing that you could have seen in 2016 from a bunch of disenchanted Bernie bros. They were anti-establishment. And that's kind of what we're seeing here with the RFK guys, because they're just like, just fuck this entire system. It's just left-leaning populists. Okay, that's kind of the people that are signing up behind RFK. All of those guys are just, grassroots guys that, just at best they could hit the political donation, the magic limit of $2,500. But yeah, no, it's just, $100, okay, $500 probably over the course of the presidential cycle, something like that. That's what they'll end up donating out there. But no, it's just working class individuals who see somebody that's up there speaking for their interests instead of just another statist individual who's just going to come out there and be a fucking robot in a cheap Sears suit. And hey, that's why you have the establishment. You could probably run back the numbers and see that, Ted Cruz donations also follow a similar path, because everybody that Ron DeSantis hired just magically seemed to work for a similar campaign in 2016. And if it wasn't for Cruz, it was for Rubio. So you already know who the deep state candidate is. The same guy who said that his most inspirational person that he's ever met in politics was H.W. Bush.
Vaccine work?
It's such an interesting question, because not only that, I also did the Regenerons of the world. We did a tremendous job on that. But we had a vaccine.
No, it's a horse dewormer, and it's fish tank cleaner. Shut up.
Different. You have different COVIDs. You had COVID-19, and then you have different COVIDs. But we had the original was COVID-19, which was the roughest one. So I have a Democrat friend who's very smart. Hopefully he votes on me, but he's very smart. He said, I don't understand one thing about you. I watch your rallies. They're incredible. You talk about beating ISIS. You talk about taxes. You talk about regulation. You talk about everything. But you never said that. I've never heard you talk about how the incredible job you did with the vaccines, because, as you know, I got them done in 9 months, and it was supposed to take anywhere from 5 to 12 years. I broke their ass, okay? And you know who doesn't like me too much? The FDA, because they were very bureaucratic, and I got it done. And he said, you may have saved throughout the world, 100 million people, and you never talk about it. I said, I really don't.
This is one of those issues where it's like his base is... They're definitely going to take issue with this. And yeah, we're still on YouTube after all. And if you want more of my spicy takes on that, if you're over on Chad Rumble, which I think we're beating the brakes off of, the YouTube audience by about 4 or 5 to 1. So you guys probably already know what time it is over on Rumble. I've got my opinions when it comes to the jab. I've got a father who had a stroke, an aunt who passed away, and an uncle who had a heart attack. So yeah, I don't exactly have all that much of a fondness of people who have been recently jabbed up. But it's one thing. Like, that would be a talking point. Like, if Trump was, how are you going to try to appeal to independence? But just saying that you provided the vaccine at a time of, heightened crisis where, hey, it was marketed as safe and effective. I have to take a look at, all the fine print and Operation Warp Speed. It was supposed to be a safe and effective vaccine. And, the emergency use authorization was supposed to expire at a certain point in time, but, Biden took over and he's like, it's just, kind of like guidelines really, not so much a law. So they just ushered him off stage. So that's one of those points where, okay, cool. Trump trying to appeal to the middle. Maybe. Or it's just showing that, yeah, he's not exactly somebody who's just going to pay lip service to his base, because there's very much an opinion within, the MAGA crowd, the Republican crowd, the conservative crowd, whatever, the front runners over on the right, okay? That would be to just trash the vaccine, just do whatever you want when it comes to that stuff, and, just play revisionist history when it comes to that. But he's not. He's touting his accomplishments. Maybe that's ego on the part of Trump, but then that's also him just keeping it 10 toes down. I appreciate the consistency as much as I take umbrage with the message.
I don't want to talk about it, because as a Republican, it's not a great thing to talk about, because for some reason, it's just not.
For some reason?
Yeah, for some reason, because people...
I actually didn't know that part was coming up, but...
People love the vaccines, and people hate the vaccines, but conservatives aren't. And I understand both sides of it, by the way. I understand both sides very well. Okay. What I didn't do is the mandates. The mandates and the vaccines don't go. And you had these governors...
No, that's the biggest thing for me. It's like, okay, cool. There's one that's out there. If you want to have it, I understand. That, yeah, the problems with it, they're outweighed by a certain amount. It's still something that is significant and something that I do talk about very consistently. But yeah, it's helped more people than it's hurt. So I guess your mileage may vary. I know where I stand on this, and it's not so much me mitigating for YouTube as much as it is just... Those are the facts. That's the way that it is. you can want for a world that the way that it should be, but you got to look at it the way that it is.
Is mandated.
with
And by the way,
Department.
Ron DeSantis,
Pentagon did.
Ron DeSantis had lines of people trying to get the vaccine. He set up whole things. You know, when I never saw a guy that could forget the past so quickly, because the past wasn't that long ago. Ron DeSantis literally had people lined up trying to get the vaccine. All the things that he said. For instance, Ron DeSantis loved Fauci.
Sure, but you didn't fire him. You listened to him.
No,
You
well,
kept
he's a
him
civil
on.
service where you're not actually allowed to fire him, but I wouldn't let that usually get in my way. You know, it's one of those things. But I never spent a lot of time with Fauci. Who did is Biden. Fauci became very powerful under Biden. Remember, Fauci was the one that said, don't close it to China, I closed it to China. Fauci, believe it or not, was totally anti-mask, and then he became a radical masker. But on the vaccines, so
Yeah, that's true.
the mandates are horrible. And
Yeah, because very, very, very early on, Fauci was actually, he possessed the based opinion when it came to masks until it became politically expedient to say for him to go, no, you need 28 masks so that you could just barely breathe. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
I was always against the mandates. But really on the vaccines, I let the governors make their decisions.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of people that love the vaccines. I mean, you do. They happen to be more Democrat than they are Republican.
That's why I asked the question.
But you have a lot of people. There are people that say I saved 100 million lives. I don't even talk about it.
On law and order, you've said you'd be in favor of the death penalty for drillers.
Yeah.
Still the case?
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh my God, when he first came up with that statement, it's like, it's great. Like I said, hey, props to Ron DeSantis for having the death penalty for kid diddlers. 1000%. You couldn't get more of my support when it comes to this. But Trump, when it comes to, illegal aliens coming across the border peddling fentanyl, oh my God, and he just wants to send them to the chair. Oh, I can only get so hard.
That's the only way you're going to stop it. Look, we can be babies and we can have blue ribbon committees. I had my great first lady, beautiful wife, Melania, who says hello. She was in charge of a committee, a blue ribbon committee of socialites and various other people that want to be on a committee. And they worked very hard. And by the way,
Great
had an impact.
committee.
We brought it down 18%. But 18% is not 100%. When I was in China, I met with President Xi, 1.4 billion people. I said, do you have a drug problem? No, I do not have a drug problem. I said,
No. I don't have a drug problem.
why do you say that is? Because we immediately give a quick trial and a penalty to drug dealers. And if you go to Singapore, rich, everything else, they had a huge drug problem. Zero drug problem. If you want to get rid of it. Now, I don't know that
Same thing can be said about United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, which, like I said, I don't have a problem with. That's my ideal world. Maybe if I have the levers of power, maybe it would be a little bit different, but you can also see those radical experiments and the likes. Oh, well, actually all the way down the Pacific Northwest and into California, what happens when you decriminalize completely, all the way up to Vancouver as well, which that place has just become an absolute shithole. The worst aspect, the city organization of Portland and the shitty weather of Seattle, it just made this fucking, tranny baby, and it's Vancouver, and it's collapsing in real time. Some of those on the street videos, it makes the downtown core of Philadelphia look like a bustling metropolis. It looks like, that stock footage that you would get from the 1950s Detroit. That's the comparison that you get. So maybe there's something to be said about harsh penalties for people that just want to, not have their best interest in mind when it comes to health and by seeking escapism through narcotics. Maybe it's one of my more contentious opinions that are out there. As somebody who doesn't do drugs, doesn't drink, doesn't do any of those narcotics or anything like that. Caffeine is probably the strongest stimulant that I take, and I do that, before I go for my runs in the morning. But outside of that, don't drink coffee or anything like that. That's just my opinion when it comes to that stuff. Your mileage may vary, pot for glaucoma or for pain. It's like it's a little bit more nuanced out at the fringes, but you're just your average person. Do you think that it's a good idea to start incentivizing, meth, eventually if one strain of pot isn't quite hitting the same way that it used to? I don't see the benefit.
this country is ready for it. I just don't know. Every time I say it, I sort of it's not easy to say the death penalty. But remember this, a drug dealer, male or female drug dealer, plenty of female drug dealers too, drug dealer will kill approximately 500 people during the course of his or her life.
So you were a big proponent of the First Step Act, the criminal justice reform. You even ran an ad during the Super Bowl about it.
With gratitude, I want to thank President Donald John Trump.
Critics of that law point out that 13,500 people have been released. About 12% of them have committed serious crimes after that. Joel Francisco was serving a life sentence for selling crack cocaine. He was released in 2019, alleged stabbing a man to death, rearrested. Paul Moore, drug trafficker, fatally shot a rival, received a reduced sentence. So there are those. And your opponents are hitting on this.
But I focused on nonviolent crime. As an example, a woman who you know very well was in jail. She had 24 more years to serve. She served for 22 years. She had
Alice Johnson.
Alice.
She was in the Super Bowl.
High quality, yeah. I said, how many years? And she was on a telephone call, and they were involved in selling marijuana, mostly marijuana. and she got like 50 years in jail.
But she'd be killed under your plan.
Huh?
As a drug dealer.
No, under that, it would depend on the severity. It would depend on the severity.
She's technically a former drug dealer. She had multi-million-dollar cocaine.
It's kind of like if you guys are watching, there's a big trial going on right now. He's a rapper, YNW Melly. He's on trial down there in Florida for the double homicide of his two friends that more than likely shot and then just tried to cover it up by saying that, no, we had a drive-by shooting, even though all the bullet holes are on the opposite side of the vehicle. Don't try to make it make sense, okay? He's doing a really piss-poor job of it at trial so far. But yeah, if convicted, he could end up, if he's convicted of both homicides and both first-degree murders, premeditated murder, he could go to jail for life. Or if he's found to be associated with, it's the G-Shine Bloods. Yes, the G-Shine Bloods. So a set of the Bloods that are down there in Florida, if he's found to be in association with them, there could be a different advancement. I think that's the proper terminology. Messing up a little bit of the terminology, but close enough. No, enhancement. There it is. If he gets that enhancement to being gang affiliated, well, he could end up facing the death penalty on that. But then it would also have to go to a jury trial. The death penalty aspect of that would have to be put in front of a jury. But now it's only an 8-4 majority that you would have to convince of a jury of your peers in order to have the death penalty against you. But still, that can be asked for by the judge. I think that ends up getting, but realistically, there are steps ahead of this so that it's not just, oh, you were this is your first time through. Oh, you were just moving 5 pounds of dope. All right, follow me. It doesn't quite happen like that. Okay, there are steps to this. There are layers to this. Okay, for everybody wrongly convicted, somebody thinks that they're acting in self-defense, but in actuality, end up figuring out that no, that extra 2 in the back of the head, it probably wasn't all that necessary. That same person's not going to get put to death in the exact same form and fashion that Ted Bundy was going to, okay? You can see that there's a distinction there. So, more inquiring minds would understand that, but I understand.
Cocaine ring.
Any drug dealer, look.
So even Alice Johnson in that ad.
She can't do it, okay? By the way, if that was there, no, she wouldn't be killed. It would start as of now, so you wouldn't go to the past.
No, but your policy.
No, starting now, yeah. But she wouldn't have done it if it was death penalty. In other words, if it was death penalty, she wouldn't have been on that phone call. She wouldn't have been a dealer. Now, she wasn't much of a dealer because she was sort of like, honestly, she got treated terribly. She was treated sort of like I get treated. But Brett, she was treated very unfairly. But she got 48 years, and that was bad. Now, today, if I did what I say that you have to do, and again, I'm not sure the country's ready for it. China was hugely, 150 years ago, China was taken over by much lesser countries because they were all drugged out on the opium, all the problem.
It's a communist regime. They dropped the hammer.
They were all drugged out.
Well, you could also point to Afghanistan. Their number one export is heroin, so opiate or whatever the fuck. They got big poppy fields, okay, that some militaries used to just burn in the standby and just get high.
And they were a disaster. They were taken over by other smaller countries, large sections of China. And then things happened, and they had strong leadership, and they put in the death penalty, and they've been able to build. But if you speak to President Xi, he will tell you, without the penalty, we would have a non-functioning country.
My point is that you're getting hit from the right for being soft on crime because of the First Step Act. And then you're saying that would be your...
Yeah, misapplication of it. Maybe. Or, hey, man, maybe it was a good idea from... good in practice, terrible in execution. Could be the case. Might need some revisions. Okay, cool. Might have fucked up in one area.
Policy. Mark Short, the Vice President's Chief of Staff, said this weekend.
One of the most unseemly parts of the end of our administration was the pardons that Donald Trump gave to cocaine traffickers, to family members, to people guilty of violent crimes.
What do you say to that?
Because I looked at it.
Every president does it. Again, it's like the Presidential Records Act. It's like, okay, everybody does it, but you're going to single them out?
Individual things, and I had committees doing this much more than me, and they would look at things, and sometimes people, even when there's a violent crime, very few violent crimes, because I didn't want to take chances on that, right? But they would look at people, and they would recommend to me, do it or not. I turned down 50 for everyone I pardoned, but sometimes you would see something that normally you wouldn't do, and you do it on recommendation of a very good committee. We had a very good committee, a very capable committee. But if you want to stop drugs in this country, which, by the way, cause, I would say, 50-60% of the crime.
And add fentanyl in there, yeah.
Especially when you had, the fentanyl is a disaster. One thing about fentanyl, so I was with President Xi, and we had a deal worked out. He was going to give the death penalty to anybody in China that made fentanyl. He was going to call it a criminal act, and he was all set to do it. Then again, we had the election. That's the end of that. They would not have been sending fentanyl. They send it right through Mexico, comes right through the border. But, right now, 12 times more drugs.
Yeah, fentanyl and all that stuff. But there was another drug crisis that happened before this in the 90s involving ecstasy. And if you trace back all the steps on that, what country did that come from? Oh, right.
It's come through the border, then came through when I was president. Now, Brett, one thing. If you want to stop drugs, there's only one way you're going to stop them: the death penalty for dealers.
Now more from our interview with former President
Oh, no.
Trump.
Okay, good.
January 6th, obviously you're facing the special counsel investigation. Are you worried about any of that? The criticism about what you did and didn't do that day?
Oh my God, it's only been investigated like how many different, like 6 different investigations: Capitol Police, DC Police, the impeachment. Oh my God, didn't one of the 3-letter deep state agencies also look through it? It's like, it's been litigated so fucking much. You had that stupid, as Trump likes to call it, the unselect committee, folks. Fucking primetime investigation. What did you end up finding? Cassidy Hutchinson's a very bangable 7, but her, storytelling capacities leave a lot to be desired. Like, okay. No, Trump got into the front seat of the beast and he started to jerk the wheel. Well, actually, that vehicle wasn't there, and that story is total fucking cap. What else do you got? Oh, it's kind of hot in here.
Your communications at all?
So I gave many, in my speech, my speech has been reviewed by every lawyer that's reviewed it, said it was a perfectly normal speech. You ever hear Maxine Waters hit him in the face and hit him here and hit? My speech was an elegant speech. It was a very, Lindsey Graham said about my speech, that's maybe the softest speech I've ever heard you make. It's very interesting.
Oh, and if you want an expert on soft, Lindsey Graham's your guy?
I said, peacefully and patriotically, be peaceful, be patriotic. But even more than the speech, I put out statements. Now, 2 of those statements were on Twitter. And as soon as I put them out, they terminated me. And the reason they terminated me, I've heard, is because those statements were so good. They were beautiful statements. Go home. Don't do this. Go home, et cetera, et cetera. 2 things interesting about that day. Number 1, they never show the pictures of the actual rally where I made the speech. All they do is show the Capitol with maybe 1,000 people.
Yeah.
It was the largest crowd that I've ever spoken before. And some people
Yeah, some of those aerial pictures is fucking impressive.
say it was way over 1 million people. But it was the largest crowd that I've ever spoken before. Nobody ever shows it.
But I'm talking about January 6th, that day. Are you, about what you did and didn't do, worried about where this is headed at all? You said that you would pardon, perhaps, the rioters. Would you also pardon the people who were convicted of assaulting officers?
Well, you also have, no, we'd look at individual cases, but many of those people are very innocent people. They did nothing wrong. In Portland, where they killed people and they've destroyed a city, I mean, the place it's all boarded up. They destroyed, nothing happened to them. In Seattle, where they took over 20% of the city, nothing happened to them. And these people, many of them, soldiers and policemen and firemen and teachers and doctors, these people, nobody's ever seen anything like it. This is like a third world, we're being run now like a third world country.
You've suggested you may skip the early Republican
Yeah, and it's actually gotten worse since 2020 in a lot of those places, which is so fucking wild. Like Chill points out, the standing Philly zombies. That shit, I'm never going to forget those videos. Holy fuck, man.
primary debates, the first being August in Milwaukee. You still in that mindset?
I like to debate. I mean, I probably am here because of debates. I don't mind it at all. But when you're 40 points up and you're running against, and even one came out today that you saw 51 points up, why would I let 8?
Oh, and some of those polls, we got a Twitter clip. Ed mentioned it a little bit earlier in the stream, but it's kind of going viral, and there's a lot of context missing on that. But I've seen some other polls that came out. I think it was Iowa specifically, and yeah, when Trump says he's up by about 50.
Hutchinson, I call him Ada because, his name's Asa, but I call him Ada for whatever reason.
Why is that? He needs...
I think he's weak.
Okay.
I think he's ineffective. But why would I let him, Chris Christie, who's got nothing going except I could be tougher on Trump. He's not tougher on anybody. He's a slub. But why would I let these people take shots at me? In other words, hey, Ronald Reagan had primaries. They all had primaries. I had one last time. And Biden, he's got somebody at 21%. I just saw a number, 21%. JFK Jr., who's a very nice person. I know him very well. He's a very, very fine person. He's at 21%.
But DNC's not...
Oh my God, he's one of those fine people. Yeah, if you guys want a little bit of inside sauce for what I got coming up on Saturday, there's an Atlantic article about RFK Jr. and like there was a hypothetical that was bounced around by a bunch of different people. Oh, if JFK was running now in 2020 or 2022, whatever the fuck, pick your poison when it comes to a date. Oh, he would be considered a far right. Oh, he would be far right by today's standards. New article that just drops by the Atlantic. The first MAGA Democrat.
Not going to do any debates. He won't agree to them.
But the
So what does it
question
mean
is-
if the
the
two
question
frontrunners
is-
for the White House, you and President Biden, duck the debate stage?
Oh, no, we have to debate. No.
Primaries.
Oh, yeah, we have to. He and I have to definitely debate. That's what I love. But the two of us have to debate as to even if the polls are...
So you haven't made your definitive decision on the primary?
No, I haven't, but I do say, why would I allow a hostile...
Well, you also know that at least the placeholder date for the federal trial is supposed to be August 14th. Yeah, August 14th is when it's supposed to happen. There's not a concrete date for the first GOP presidential debate, so Trump might be a little bit tied up at the time. Funny timing, huh?
Network folks, pretty hostile. Why would I allow...
You get a fair shake.
Okay, but I mean, this is a fair interview, but it's hostile. It's on the hostile side. I wouldn't say it's a puff piece, but that's okay. Hey, Brett, why would
To be fair, it's probably the best interview that I've seen of Trump, so W weird looking Superman.
I allow a hostile network and then allow people that are polling at zero. They're polling at zero, many of these guys. One of them is zero with an arrow left. Now, I think that's a mistake. In other words, a zero, that's less than zero. Christie's like at 1% or less. Many of them, Nikki Haley's at 2%. She hasn't got on because everyone knows she's, highly overrated.
Ron DeSantis' VP pick right there.
I put Nikki
It's so fun. Is that Jared Kushner right behind her?
there because I like the governor, the lieutenant governor of South Carolina. And Henry McMaster has turned out to be a great, great governor.
That's why you put her in the position for the
I got
UN?
two for the price of one. I put her over there, but
Yeah, the fucking UN. Like, come on.
much more important to me because Henry McMaster was great, always great, and people love him in South Carolina, and I got him to be governor of South Carolina. That was a very big thing to me, and I put her in that other position. But look, Nikki is very low. They're all very low. So why would I allow people at 1% and 2% and 0% to be hitting me with questions all night? I don't think it's fair.
Does any of this ever get to you? Are you ever exhausted by it?
I almost don't have time to be exhausted. I should be exhausted. Many people have asked, how do you take it? And I think genetically it's like, whether it's an athlete or something else.
Because you've been under fire, in the spotlight
Well,
for a
I've
long
been
time.
under fire from the time I came down the escalator.
Yep.
Maybe before that. If you look at the whole hoax, it started when my name was first announced and I did well
W camera placement.
on the poll right from day one. When I came down, that first day, I went to number one of the poll and I never came back. As a Republican, I was center stage every single debate. And we had a lot of them. But I was center
True.
stage every single. And by the way,
Jeb Bush was number one until he hit the debate stage. So, just got to fact check him.
I didn't do one debate because I thought Fox was treating me very unfairly. You remember that?
Megyn Kelly bleeding out of her eyes, bleeding out of her where.
I didn't do well either. But why, and I would love to debate in one way, but in another way I say, why would I debate allowing people that are polling at zero, have no votes, have no popularity, shouldn't be there, they're wasting everyone's time and they know it. Why would I allow them to ask me questions? And
Well, I'm going to ask this question, the final question. Christine sent an Instagram post, and she asked, how is Melania handling all of this?
she is a woman of great dignity and beauty and style. She is a very popular first lady, although a lot of people might not know that one way or the other. When I make speeches, we're starting the rallies now very soon, and when I make speeches, we have 50,000, 75,000 people, 25,000, 20,000. We have massive crowds, biggest ever in the history. There's never been anything like it. So many signs are, we love our first lady. The people love Melania. She's a very confident person. She feels I'm being very badly mistreated, and she says, you go ahead and you do whatever you want to do because I'm with you 100%.
So Melania Barron, fully happy.
Nice.
Mr. President, you think you were fairly treated today?
I don't know, a couple of questions could have been done without, but that's okay. I enjoyed it.
We really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
That was, like I said, that was actually a really decent interview, if we're going to be completely honest. One of the better ones that I've seen so far. And, oh man, they cut it off right before the handshake. But obviously you knew that the handshake was going to come. But like I said, I want to just quickly take a look. I'll just go ahead and throw it on the camera. Hopefully you can't see that I'm dying over here when it comes to, it's a little bit fucking warm in my place up in here. So, yeah, let me just check this out. See if I can't find... God, why do they keep sending me these? Just scrolling through Twitter at this point in time, because I want to find that as well. I just document auto embed. Oh, okay. What do we got on this? Oh, okay. I guess this is just kind of breaking at this point in time, but alleged document from Trump audio and Bedminster is not part of the DOJ charges. So I guess we just figured out in real time that alleged document that he was showing to the, dozen people that were in the room. Yeah, it's not one of the documents in question. So, yeah, so that story's going to be disappearing because, oh, fuck, CNN just got caught with their drawers down. Still doesn't change the fact that they got leaked audio from the DOJ specifically, but yeah, no, pretty important stuff. Good thing we do a little cleanup here at the end. So, okay, that was important. Also, I want to get at this one. Like I said, I wanted to find that interactive poll. Is that what it was? Fuck. I know he had it. Man's had it. Get that out of the way. Oh my god, that's so fucking annoying, to be completely honest. I gotta go there. And this one right here. When Trump was talking about being up 50 points or some shit like that. Oh, new Tucker Carlson video came out for anybody who's interested. Oh, talking about Ukraine, it looks like. That's interesting. A lot of good Ukraine coverage is going to be coming out from a bunch of different locations later this week. I know Fresh and Fit, who I always shout out because I think they do exceptional good work. Specifically, Myron. But the focus really talk. Oh yeah, they're going to have Scott Ritter. They're going to be talking Russia, Ukraine. The name Scott Ritter does sound familiar, but I can't quite remember specifically where I seen that. So yeah, I haven't done any research on that at all. Was that the one that I was looking at? That was New Hampshire. Yeah, Trump up pretty much everywhere. But I like this one better, actually. This is one that I just seen as well. So this is the entire GOP field on this one. Taking a look at the four first, the fuck do they call them in the primary? Places where they vote and send electorates. I think it's caucuses. I think so. Early state polling average. So yeah, Iowa's first or second. I thought New Hampshire was the first. But as you can see, Trump, at least at this point in time, was it, just about a year out. I think those end up happening March of 2024. I think that's when those votes end up happening. But no, yeah, Trump up 22, and then 30 points in New Hampshire, South Carolina 21. And South Carolina won geographically is the closest to Florida and DeSantis. This motherfucker, outside of Iowa, where he's actually getting beat by the third worst margin, he can't crack 20. Just about 21% in Nevada. But Trump, the business guy, the guy who owns one of the biggest and nicest hotels in Las Vegas, he's up by 31 points. Yeah, it's not even close. Maybe not the 50 that Trump was lauding, but in some of those polls, yeah, no, you just take a look at momentum specifically, and that's the best way that you can tell when it comes to any of these polls. Who's going up and who's going down? DeSantis over and over again. The dude he's falling every single place that he goes. It's opposite of what Dave Rubin, who, again, he was on Fresh and Fit last week, I think Wednesday of last week, but yeah. He's under the impression that the more people that get to hear Ron DeSantis talk, the more they're gonna like him. That seems to be completely the opposite of what happens. That guy should be approaching his campaign like Biden did in 2020. Just to hide, just continue to go, woke, woke, woke. And you might get a little bit more support because when you're out there in front of a podium, in front of a live audience, everybody just kind of gets that yuck. Like, what the fuck? What's this yuppie fuck doing up here? We would much rather hear from Trump. Boo, get off the stage. Boo. That's why he's going to get roasted by Vivek if Trump isn't at the podium. But last thing that I said that I wanted to show. I think he said Benny. This one here, this one. Oh my god, everybody's retweeting 9 different fucking shades of that goddamn Tucker Carlson video. Earlier today, where's stupid Biden? Oh my god. Bruh. Is that really earlier this morning? Oh my god, it was, yeah, Biden selling the, oh, here it is. Yeah, okay. So yeah. I ain't no fan of Biden. I ain't no band leader either, but we got this. Yeah, we can just fucking go this way. Okay, so. Yeah, as you can see, it's got community noted, which they also recently, the stupid community notes, they can be so touch and go, hit and miss. Okay. Apparently run by a bunch of DeSantis guys, but the community noted, oh my god, Andrew Tate, when he was talking depression as a choice, your move, or whatever the fuck it was. It was like a 4-word tweet, and it was like, depression is a legitimate mental condition. And it's like, yes, okay, you can be clinically diagnosed, but back in the cut, you know what else used to be a mental deficiency? Transgenderism. But hey, politics change, right? And then, oh yeah, their follow-up underneath of that, when the community notes, depression can be caused by all of these lists of choices that you can make and how you approach that stuff. Oh my god, just big cell phone on that one. But no, here's the community notes on this one. This clip of Biden has been deceptively edited to omit that Biden was making a joke. Here's the full clip. And yeah, they link to a transcript from the White House that does say, okay, folks, so all joking aside, ha ha ha. But I haven't listened to the quote, or I haven't listened to the clip in full. It's only 14 seconds long. Like, what's the worst that can happen here?
I was just thinking,
holy fuck, is he drunk? Like, were they drinking earlier, or is his slur just gotten that bad?
I was just thinking,
talking over your dentures.
Anyway,
huh?
I started off without you, and I sold a lot of state secrets and a lot of very important things that we shared. I was just,
yeah, there's a little bit of a titter in the background. It's as close of a joke as Biden can make in today's day and age. Yeah, okay. Why would he admit? It's the exact same thing with Trump when he's, showing off those documents. Would he actually show off incriminating documents? You know, we know that Joe's not all there. Actually, he's not even like 25% of the way there, but he's gone this far to just, you know, hide all of his backroom dealings, and he lets his crackhead son run cover for it. So would he be that stupid to come out and say, I stole a lot of state secrets? Very... Expect his dentures to pop out the next time he makes a statement. Yo, man, it's been a second since I've heard Biden. Definitely the first time this week, and that dude's deteriorating like a fucking pillar of salt in front of our eyes. But couldn't happen to a more scummy individual, right? You know, what? Maybe, hey, man, you know, maybe Hunter wouldn't have been so fucked up growing up if he got to, you know, experience different types of culture growing up in that racial jungle that you wanted to keep your kids out of. Just saying, though. But shout out to everybody who turned out for this one. You know, late in the day, not exactly the longest of streams that we had out there, but no, incredibly good turnout. Like, ridiculously good turnout on Rumble. Always surprised when it comes to that stuff, and incredibly appreciative of it, of course, as well. And over on YouTube, of course, you know, Ed making sure that, you know, the fucking, you know, the lights stay on in this place. I appreciate it, buddy. And Dennis, I always heard. All I heard was, yeah, nervous laughing as Biden. Yeah, for sure. No, thanks for turning out, WCS. You blowing up the chat, my guy. You know, definitely having a really good conversation. It looks like a lot of people were really engaged with what you were talking about. And shout out to everybody. Ed, if you're still here. Of course, Manu, you still kicking around, my guy. Chill, you're fucking funny, dude. I really appreciate that as well. And Rookie, if you're still kicking around. Shout out to you, of course. It's always great to see the regulars. It's always great to see the new folks in here as well. Oh, Frosty, hey, shout out for a little bit of information. Ritter is a former Marine officer and UN weapon inspector. Pretty much the few voices of reason when it comes to Ukraine. Okay, same discourse as Douglas McGregor. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so he is based. Okay, he's not going to be one of these, you know, backdoor neocon types where it's like, well, actually, the Russia was. Oh my God, just shut up. But yeah, okay, good. I was looking forward to that stream to begin with, and I was going to do some research on him, but obviously trying to prepare for that RFK stream on Saturday, which is going to be so much fun. God, I'm looking forward to that one. And yeah, hopefully see you guys then, because that'll be the next live stream. But tomorrow, like I said, it's going to be fun. Oh, I got one of my favorite thumbnails that is going to go live on a very... I'll give you guys a little bit of a hint as to what the subject matter is. It involves a cancellation and somebody being taken out of context. Yeah, that's all I need to say. Let comedians be funny. Let jokes be jokes. And let's just have a fucking laugh. Stop taking everything so goddamn seriously. So, guys, like I said, I appreciate it. Oh, was working out on the treadmill. I got to stop being fat. It's unacceptable to be fat in 2023 CDPR, but you're doing the work, and that's the most important thing. So, yeah, just continue at it. Consistency pays off, my guy. So, with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone. Thanks a lot.